Thinking about craving a niche for yourself, carving out a niche for yourself, wondering how to get it done? Pause, think about it with intentional thought, and consider where we go from here. Stay tuned and hear what Leslie Vanderpool got to say about creating her niche and directing her legacy through the Bahamas International Film Festival.
Something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles. What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract. What we imagine, we surely can achieve. Let's change the narrative 242.
Welcome to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles. Join our co-sponsors, Dom Dev Enterprises and Page Investments, and our friends at Something to Think About in the discussion this evening with our creative minds, Miss Leslie Vanderpool. Leslie, how are you today?
I am fantastic today.
Awesome. Awesome.
How are you?
Cool. I am great. Energized, charged, and everything, and ready to go.
Yes, that's important.
Cool.
Energized.
Good.
Energized.
So let's just get a little bit of your background, because I know your resume could go from here to tomorrow, but particularly if you talk about all the people that you've met in your lifetime in this industry. But you are founder and director, or executive director of Bahamas International Film Festival, which we call BIFF, and you've been doing, I guess, about more than 10, 12 years of development before you did the film festival in yourself?
I was in the industry for about 2 decades before that.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Mm-hmm.
As an actress. And so there was a lot of preparation and seeds planted for me to find my niche.
Right. Good. But so, I don't know if, was this, you did international relations, you studied that at first and got your degree, and then you switched over, or was that a part of the program to go that route and then do?
Well, I tell people that I love to travel, so I needed to find a way to relate internationally and then give that degree to something to fall back on. But yeah, I have a college degree in international relations, and I think it was really important to study something in the liberal arts profession, and then fulfill my desires as to what I truly wanted to do, and that was in performing arts.
Right, and so you went to 2 schools for that.
Yeah, I went to Performing Arts High School, and that's strictly that was from like 16 until I graduated in high school.
Okay.
But I was doing plays even before that. And that Performing Arts High School was in New Jersey, a school called Purnell, and not Cornell, Purnell. And and then I went to college in Washington, D.C. for the international relations degree, and then went to Lee Strasberg, and then had different acting coaches, and went to study Shakespeare at Oxford University, Balliol College. For Shakespeare.
Oxford. You went to Oxford.
For Shakespeare, and so I had a lot of training, and one acting teacher said to me, the best training is actually the training that you do when you're doing the job. So I did a lot of theater. That's why I moved to New York. I lived in Miami specifically to work without a SAG card, without a Screen Actors Guild card, because it was a right to work state. It was a non-union.
Right.
And so once I got my Screen Actors Guild card on a Toyota commercial, the doors were open for me. I was deciding whether to move to California or to move to hi Val from Nova Scotia. Wonderful. I decided whether or not I should move to California or New York, and I decided New York because there was not everybody and their parent was an actor in New York. I was able to kind of do a lot of theater there and do, some independent films, and still able to train. And so I felt like it was the more intelligent way to go. And then I
Right.
in and out of LA, California. But yeah, my international relations degree was something to fall back on.
Right. Right. And so then now you got into get BIFF started in 2004
Yeah.
and 1,000 plus odd films, 150 countries. The man, 150 countries represent films from 150 countries was showcased at BIFF.
And showcase at BIFF, yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's really important, I think, to celebrate cinema. And the only way that you can do that is have a diverse group of films from around the world in the course of 2 to 7 days, showing in multiple screening venues, and celebrating cinema with the filmmakers, with the industry professionals, with celebrities. And so they all come there for a common goal, and that is to celebrate and entertain and to encourage and to educate those people who are like-minded in this film industry.
Cool. And actually, Dominic sends his love. I saw him send something earlier.
Dominic's film was in the festival. We had his film in the festival. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that? His short film. Yeah.
Cool. Yes.
Yes.
So a lot of these films ended up becoming Oscars or Golden Awards winners.
I'll never forget the time when Dan Guando, he was working at the time for a Weinstein Company. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that name, but he sent me a DVD, and he submitted the film the proper procedures, proper way. And I can never forget that we had a lady who was working at the festival office and received a call, and they said, well, "Can you tell me?" The question was, "Can you provide the deadlines for film submissions?" And she said, "Oh, we've already passed our film submission, and we're not accepting any more films." And then the question was, "Well, the response was, this is the Weinstein Company calling to send a film for review." And so, of course, we had the film. We screened the film with our programming committee, and it was the King's Speech, and it ended up being our opening night film before it opened anywhere, and went on to win an Oscar. So that was a really, really nice surprise to be able to have all of these films that are ready to be awarded the top prizes, and those films at the festival really provide opportunities for people that are in the audience, because they're the first people to see such films before it goes to the theater. So you have a lot of bragging rights. Oh, I saw that film before it was in the theater, or I saw that film 7 years ago when it was at the film festival, and and now it's on HBO. And there's a lot of opportunities for the filmmaker and the audience. So we're very happy to see that the festival has established and garnered such great response. We've received, I think, a recognition from Movie Making magazine that has given us one of the coolest film festivals in the world.
Okay.
And we think that we're cool. We think that we're a great backdrop. We're really unique. We offer great programming, and
so you keep saying we, and a lot of people only see you. And so when we say BIFF, is BIFF like
it's an engine,
iceberg with a bunch of more people in the background than what's in the front?
Perfect example. Everybody's working underneath or behind. I never take credit for everything that I've done, because there's so many people that have helped this festival move into there's so many people.
So that could be an industry by itself then, because I mean, when we look at 18 years,
Yeah.
And in those 18 years, folks, from what I know of BIFF, BIFF was on a roll moving up the ladder fast. I guess till hurricane and COVID came along and stopped everybody's tracks. So you got to kind of halfway jumpstart yourself again. But you have had tributes for 18 significant people, whereas many companies, it takes them a number of years before they could get to have one of the first of these names: Johnny Depp, and Danny Glover, and Nicolas Cage, and Lawrence Fishburne, Grace Jones. That was one of my favorites because I got to sit 2 seats next to her, or
Oh,
three seats. Yeah, there, but yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's incredible the amount of people that we've celebrated. Johnny Depp, Cage, Lawrence Fishburne, Daryl Hannah, Zoe Saldana, Amber Heard. You know, all of the greats. Sorry, unfortunately, I mentioned Amber Heard, but it's, you know, we've had a lot of really interesting people come across our stage to celebrate.
Right.
Anna Faris, Grace Jones, Zoe Saldana. I think I mentioned her. Anna Faris.
Don't forget Sean Connery. I mean, Homestead.
Oh my gosh, Michael K. Williams.
Right.
Radon Chong, Chaz Ebert. It's incredible.
So it's plenty.
Roger Corman.
Yeah.
You know, all of the greats that have come across our stage that we've been able to rub shoulders with, be able to engage in, to be able to celebrate their work. And I remember this call that when we honored Johnny Depp, we had a call come from Denmark, and they're like, "How did you tell us the secret as to how you were able to get Johnny Depp?"
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of, you know, exciting opportunities that one would think back on and say, you know,
that's impressive. No, you're being modest. That's impressive. The names on this list, folks, is impressive. So to have it almost like a Michael Jordan winning 6 championships on 6 attempts, that's pretty much the way I look at this, right?
Well,
so we're talking about elite.
A lot of people would think that, you know, it's all about the celebrities. I tend, and then the one question is that we get all the time is like, who are you honoring? Who's the next celebrity? And I really think that it's important to focus on, you know, who's attending, like which filmmakers are going to be in attendance, and which films are going to shape
shape the landscape. Yeah.
The landscape. And a few films that I will never forget that we received a lot of accolades for. And when we, for instance, you know, everyone knows Kareem Mortimer. When we showed Kareem's film, Children of God.
Okay.
I think that was like one of the. You remember when Brokeback Mountain was banned in the Bahamas?
Right. And Sidney Poitier's movies were banned also.
And unfortunately, you know, it took that film to actually have a person like the former Hillary Clinton, Secretary General of the United States, to recognize that, you know, there's a small country that is showcasing a film to discuss a social issue.
Right.
And those kinds of accolades that you receive, you know, with films that are shaping our culture or shaping our identity or shaping our society or have conversations to be had. It's in addition to entertaining, we have to educate and
right.
have to kind of provide. I think we have to be conscious of what we're doing, and so the conversation of social issues is very much a part of the festival. What we do in terms of educate, you know, is going into the schools and we teach the students how to make films. So we really have to have a purpose,
right?
Not just who are we honoring, and And
Yeah, no, fair enough. But I just wanted to highlight that so that people can have a understanding of what little Bahamas, and people think of the Bahamas, in the Bahamas can't, hey, on the side, nothing happening. But these are big things. But on the other side to it is you have to start from some foundation,
yeah,
right? And all Bahamians that I know about who are great in different ways had dreams, right? And that's what I see the new built environment is as a dream that needs to happen, which we have intention to do. So when we look at that and we look at our environment, and so when we say some too many of us wait for government to do it, but you didn't wait. You just ran out there and grabbed the bull by the horn and pushed at it. So what fuels your motor to cause you to be able to be ever pressing in these even in the trying times?
when I first started the festival, it
Mm-hmm.
was what got me up. What got me up in the morning? What made me proud? What made me energized? What made me excited to do
Right.
what I, you know, did? And it is a dream come true that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I recalled that the seed was planted when I was 15 years old, and
Okay. Mm-hmm.
sitting in my aunt's living room, and Albert Johnson said, "Let's start a film festival here." And I'm like, well, I was in boarding school. I didn't think about coming back to the Bahamas. And
Mm-hmm.
then the boarding school I went to, I was roommates with William Wilder's daughter, um,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and Catherine Wilder. Amy Sind was the daughter, and Catherine Wilder was William Wilder's daughter.
Right.
And so Amy Sind was my roommate, and Catherine Wilder was William Wilder's daughter. And we were at the Cannes Film Festival in May of 1998. And I remember Uncle Al was saying, we're going to start a film festival, and unfortunately, and she was going to start her father's film festival,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
overlooked film festival, the William Wilder, retrospective festival.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite interesting because when I was 15, the seed was planted, and then when I was in 1998, the seed was brought up. The idea was brought up again, and unfortunately, it took his death for me to say, okay, well, this is an opportunity, or maybe I was a vessel. This is an opportunity that I really
Right.
want to come to fruition. And I knocked on people's doors after 9/11. I was living in New York, and then after the airport opened up, I came to the Bahamas to learn my lines of a play that I was in New York. And
Right.
then a month being here, I said, well, let me check on those people who are genuinely interested to assist in helping put the Bahamas on the map through a film festival.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it was always in me. I'm a lover of film. My passion is film. My passion is showcasing. My passion is networking. My passion is putting people together and
Mm-hmm.
introducing people to opportunities. And I think that once you know that you can't, that once you have a driving energy that
Right.
pushes
Okay.
you to do something, that is when you know that's your niche or that's your calling.
Right. Right.
It's the energy. It takes energy to get up and do those things. You can't just, I'm not making loads of money doing this. And a lot of people think, oh, it's a glitz and the glamour, and she's making all this money. No, it's a nonprofit organization. So every penny that comes into the festival, it goes right into everything that every line item in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a labor of love, and it's also a lifestyle that I've chosen. It's something that I really can't shake in terms of
Right.
being able to encourage and educate Bahamians who are interested in those fields, and also to showcase films from the Bahamas and internationally, so that there's a standard that's built, and
Mm-hmm.
develop a film environment to bring those runaway productions to the Bahamas. It's been a long time since we've actually had a major film showcased or shot in the Bahamas, and
Right.
there's many reasons why. But I think it's really important to have those decision makers know that the Bahamas is open for business, and that we are a beautiful backdrop that's very close, the proximity to the United States, and
Right.
and shouldn't be overlooked in terms of making films. So so keeping that in the forefront, always being an ambassador to my flag,
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and what drives me. I mean, you it is truly, as you said, through the good and the bad, or through the bad. What propels me to continue? It's those moments where you think about, those people that you helped, and
Right.
people that that you've changed their lives, in terms of bringing opportunities to their doorstep that they never really would have imagined.
So, what would have been some of the like hard questions or look in the mirror type decisions that might have had to make for somebody to be successful in developing a creative package like what you have with Biff? If you're willing to share it.
You have to be tenacious, and you have to be consistent, and you have to, some of those hard questions, it's like, um, I mean, I still face those questions. Do you still,
Go okay. Mm-hmm.
do you, you know, how much energy do you put into this when doors are closed?
Right.
So it's making sure that you're constantly looking forward and not looking at those obstacles, and seeing how the ways that you can make or shape what it is that you want to do, um, be the driving force as to sustaining, um, the organization.
Yeah. So it's fair to say that you have to build a mindset to want to succeed and to drive through all of the obstacles and clutter.
I honestly think you have to look within as to what it is you want to do. I mean, it's
Okay.
not necessarily building a mindset per se. It's okay. Yes, the mindset is, it's like you have to prepare. You have to wake up in the morning. You have to do your routine. You have to, you have to show up. But I think it is more of a, you have to look within, um, first to see, can you really, is do you
Is
want
it a match for you? Right.
to match? So there's a lot of
So,
self-reflection, and we all change, from the time I started the festival. I'm not the same as I am today. We're forever changing, as humans, and we evolve. And there's those things that I wanted to do in 2004 that I may not want to do now.
right. Right.
So it's constantly, reflecting, and constantly, going to the mission of that we've created, and
Right.
having those board members, and advisory board members be supportive of that mission in order to drive the decision making.
Yeah. So, what would you mention the mission? I was about to ask a couple questions later, but I'll ask it now. What is the mission or the vision about of BIFF?
Well, it's a nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
It's a legal entity that
Right.
is, showcasing films that you would never see, or that may have difficulty seeing theatrically. And then, in addition to showcasing films, we educate, the past, present, and future of cinema. Um, so it's truly a platform to provide a public service to our country, and I think we've achieved that.
Ooh, great. And before we play a video that you shared with us, why film and not theater?
I think
Why?
I don't
Go ahead.
think it should be one or the other.
Okay.
I as an actor, I love theater. I think theater is, for me, I love the continuity of the character, whether as opposed to film, where it's all chopped up, and then in the editing room you have to piece it all together. But I think expression, it is so important for human beings to be able to express themselves. So whatever art form, whatever genre you choose,
Right.
it is important for us to be expressive, and film and theater do that.
Right. Cool. All right, but folks, as we go, be sure to ask your questions of Leslie. We know she has a wealth of information. The film industry is going to be growing in leaps and bounds. We're speaking that in the Bahamas. I know we had some attempts before to have our own film studios, and different things may have gotten in the way. But we want to build this industry to be full-fledged, film and theater, to be a cream of the crop and be a pillar of our society. So, Madam Producer, if you want to play that video, and Leslie, if you could probably, this is the one from Vimeo, and
Oh,
that's pictures.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we don't.
That one, yeah. So if you could tell us what's the mindset behind the video, and then people we could play it.
A promotional perspective.
Okay. So
Engagement.
people get a good idea as to what they could expect of BIFF.
Yeah. I mean, this was made
Okay.
10 years ago, so I just wanted you to kind of.
Yeah, so we'll play a portion of it if not.
Hi, my name is Leslie Vanderpool, founder and executive director of the Bahamas International Film Festival. A huge thank you to those who are already supporters of the Bahamas International Film Festival. Over the years, you have heard, seen, experienced, and been transformed by the magic of cinema. You have had the opportunity to network and meet numerous actors, filmmakers, and celebrities. BIFF was created to enhance the international film industry culture, especially with our young people in mind. It was created to support the country's filmmakers and to present the Bahamas films that offer views of the world, and to introduce our country to filmmakers from around the world.
We have such wonderful, talented filmmakers, 30 or more filmmakers that have joined us this year from all over the world.
Jessica Wethington, I'm the producer for a film called AWOL.
My name is John Kastner. I'm the director, producer, star of a comic documentary called Sinner in Paradise that was shot partly here at the Yoga Ashram on Paradise Island and also at the Atlantis.
I'm Adrian Bellage. I'm here with my latest documentary entitled Beyond the Call.
David Giancola. I am the director of Illegal Aliens, which is starring Anna Nicole Smith and Joni China Lauer, the former WWF wrestler.
Leah Johnson, and my is a romantic called I'm Through with White Girl, producer and lead actress.
BIFF has provided a platform for filmmakers who have become household names. And of course this year, we will once again open with a Bahamian film, Children of God, directed by our very own Kareem Mortimer.
My name is Kareem Mortimer. I'm a Bahamian filmmaker. My film Children of God is opening the 2000 Film Festival.
BIFF has been a part of my journey. I feel like, is it possible that every film that I've made has been a part of BIFF?
Well, here we are at Cloisters at the one and only Ocean Club on Paradise Island in the beautiful Bahamas, and everyone's having a fabulous time. It's the who's who of Nassau, New Providence here tonight to support Leslie Vanderpool and the Bahamas International Film Festival.
Johnny Depp, please come forward.
Do you see yourself becoming more involved in this festival?
So help me, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
I think that the key to what makes the Bahamas Film Festival, and why I think it's going to last for a long time and do nothing but grow, is simply because the people of the Bahamas are so cordial, they're so nice. And that was why Anna wanted to live here, and that was why she wanted to be buried here. And for those same reasons, the sense of hospitality and the sense of gratefulness that people travel to the islands here, that permeates the festival. I've been treated. My film hasn't even screened yet, and I've been treated so well. I've been treated better here than I was at the Cannes Film Festival, and that's supposed to be the most prestigious film festival.
We have a lot of talent in this country. Please, on behalf of all Bahamians, will you please come out and support the talent?
I'm especially proud to be here this evening, being a Bahamian, and of course my mother's Bahamian, and my grandfather was born in Inagua. And I live in Eleuthera, so, this is my home.
Oh, I'm really excited to be here, first of all, just to be here in Nassau, because I grew up here when I was a kid for a little while. My mom moved us here for about a year when I was about 8, and then, of course, to be around that guy.
But what we need, two things, much more commitment by the Bahamians, the government. It's apolitical, beneficial, and we need to have a base, a film house, permanent residence in the Bahamas.
BIFF provides premieres of crowd pleasers and art house cinema.
All right. So that's a portion of it, because it goes on for a bit more, folks out there. But you can watch it. It's on YouTube also.
It's on our film festival page.
Yeah, on the page, correct. Yeah. So in the clip there just now, we would have seen that there was some talk about development with children and education and the like, and a lot of it. And I say that Leslie started this system, I call it, back long before I came up with the idea of the new built environment. But the new built environment is a political, economical, and social environment of our society formulated through the intentional thought and action designed to create the greatest opportunities to build the highest quality of life for our citizens, residents, and those subscribing to and supporting the culture of the 2-for-2, to which we will provide sustainability for generations to come. So when we look at it, that's a mouthful, but when we look at that and what BIFF is set up to do, we talked about a lot of the films itself once they're in its final product, but BIFF, particularly how I got introduced to it, was because Dominic, my son, who is an artist, he came and he said he wanted to be a part of BIFF because he wanted to go and learn through your schooling. I call it the schooling system. I don't know if that's the proper term for it. But you could speak to that part of the operations, because I think if we could develop those aspects a little bit more also, then as the gentleman said, Sean Connery said at the end, the whole mechanism is in place for us to make this a pillar of our society, industry.
At this moment, the Bahamas International Film Festival is an institution.
Okay.
What it does, it develops and it nurtures and it entertains, showcases films, not just to your mother, your father, within your household. It celebrates it and takes it throughout the Bahamas and into the world, where you can network and you can collaborate. So what's happening right now, we really need institutions to start looking at performing arts as a program that nurture talented individuals that we have here, and provide them with accreditation so that they feel like there's opportunities for them. in the world, other than just your lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, and
Right.
there's many people like myself. I was more right brain, so I excelled in the arts, and I knew that from a very young child. And I think a lot of people here in the country need that. They need these outlets, and they need this training ground, and they need to hone these skill sets that they have. And one of the reasons why we are lacking films being brought to the Bahamas is because we do not have the skill set here that will be hired for particular films that we used to draw, that used to be the Disneys and the Bonds, and it's quite.
So when you say there's films, the skill sets now, like how many different skill sets does it take?
Accountants, makeup artist, wardrobe design, set design, lighting, from so there's a lot.
Script writers, yeah.
Well, script writers normally would come from the script would have already been written.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just
if it's being shot here, but there's so many. Yes, of course, the industry, the film. If you're venturing into the film industry, you have to be consider. It's very important to learn the skill sets of writing a good script.
Right.
Practicing, like Spike Lee said, you just pick up a camera and start shooting, and experiment.
Oh, we could have that. We on Facebook all the time and social media, picking up every video of accident and this and that and the other. That's practice.
There's no reason why you cannot learn how to become a writer, filmmaker, producer, grip operator, boom operator, makeup artist, a set designer. Right. It's a collaborative industry. Film takes a team where someone painting a canvas takes one person.
Individual.
It's very individual. So I think that I love working off of working off the energy of other people, and collaboration. I think is really important. Providing these programs for people to hone their skills is essential. And why not have it at our universities? Why not have it at our vocational institutes? Why not have a performing arts center where people or performing arts institute where people are specifically going there for a purpose and getting trained in other areas of interest. And it's so important because that's the way that people learn to be expressive. And I think that there's so much violence and there's so much aggression and there's so much built up energy that is not being funneled in a direction where it's constructive. So you have a lot of animosity, you have a lot of angry people in societies where culture is not the fabric, where art is not being expressive is most vital part of a human construct.
Okay.
I think. And pardon?
No, I was just going to say, but if you had more to your thought, then you can complete it first.
I think to be an individual, to learn about oneself, I mean, you have to be able to feel like you can explore and be expressive, and it's not, you don't have to succeed the first round. There's a lot of practice. There's a lot of it takes a long time for one to build into an area and receive, well, not necessarily receive, but I think it's important for people to do what they, to be able to offer people opportunities to see if it's something that is within their liking. And I think we're just offering only one
aspect
of what should
could happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know we've always had a lot of talk over the thousands of years about what we're gonna do different and stuff. But I have this fundamental belief that generations, what's that, Y and Z, are pretty much of the digital age, and they digital creatures, and they're also creative creatures. So by the nature of the numbers, whatever is happening in the past is going to get forced into being more real. The Bahamas would be more of a creative funded or pillared society. And I think film will be one of those that's going to be big because when I look around, everybody, look at Junkanoo. Today, I heard on the news where they said yesterday 1,000 tickets were sold. Today, it seems like it's 4,000 tickets already sold, and they're going to run out of tickets. So I don't know anything. But
understand why? Because people need a form of expression. They need an outlet. They need to feel like they can be a part of something that shakes their soul and that can feel like they are, what Junkanoo does to me. I cannot express, but
you just move with it. Yeah.
Art, everything just invigorates every bone and cell in my body.
Right.
And
so
that's what art is about. That's what self-expression is about. That is what, we want to feel like we are being energized.
Right. So I mentioned that because just a few weeks ago we had Clevian Ines III on. We might know him better as Uncle Sarah, but we were talking about education and like and he was mentioning our educational system is pretty much a hand-me-down of what was in place, which was to produce people to fill what would be in the European environment or the England environment more so than anything else. But I want to ask this question is, I always feel that we are more kinetically inclined, but now of recent years, I find that we're even more creatively inclined because I look at my household or my family and just about every generation just about everybody in every generation has some creative skill. Who would have known that I would have been here sitting in front of you on the internet having a talk show? But anyway, that's another story. But so the question is, what do you think is the percentage of persons in our high schools and primary schools today who are more inclined of being creative in a creative career versus what I call a academic or professional career, doctor, lawyer, accountant, etc.?
I think 90%. I mean, you can just look at
90?
Yes.
All of that?
Yes. You can look at the students and see the creative ways that they dress, the music that they listen to, the youth are so much more in tune to art and culture than when I went to school. And I think that they are missing out on an opportunity that we're not providing to them, and that's a place to showcase their talent.
Right.
We're the only country in the Caribbean that doesn't have a performing arts center. We have to go and showcase our talents in a hotel.
Right.
We have to go showcase our talents. Where do we showcase our talents? There's no stage to perform. There's no stage that is going to showcase our talent and export that.
Right.
The National Performing Arts Center, the hole in the ceiling is the size of the room that I'm sitting in. Where all the elements are coming in. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The stage does not exist for artists. And I think that we are shortchanging ourselves if we are not really tapping into what we have. Because when we have tourists coming into the country, and we're so focused on what we want the tourists to experience,
Right.
we're missing out. Because those tourists that are on the cruise ships or coming from wherever, I can guarantee you I can find 500 to 700 people that want to sit in a air-conditioned space and watch
Yep.
The Nassau Operatic Society give a Bahamian performance for an hour and a half.
Right. Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
you can imagine if you put a ticket price on for $50.
Right.
You have 2 shows a day, 7 days a week. You do the math.
Yep. But I mean, but it's the whole creative culture. I mean, the whole
Youth are
space.
demanding it. They are.
Right.
It's the way. It's the expression. It is the way that they dress. It's the way that they talk. It's the music they're listening to. We're missing out on. We're not providing our youth the opportunity to grow.
Mhm.
And you mentioned education.
Yeah.
Education is not just one sector. We have to start allowing different sectors, like BTVI is offering vocational institutes,
Right.
knowledge opportunities. Not everybody is built for school. Not everybody is built to have a degree. Not everyone can afford it.
Mhm.
So what are we going to do to those people that are so talented, like the Sidney Poitiers, who left our country to be exposed, to find exposure, and to go on and to make our country proud? Why do we have to leave the country? Why can't we hone those Sidney Poitiers in our country?
Right here. Right. Mhm.
You know, so it is a brain drain in terms of arts and culture. You know, the 17 countries, more than 17, but the countries in the Caribbean, when I travel, the performing arts centers are gorgeous. The countries just in Miami, look at the Jackie Gleason, look at all over the world, they have beautiful facilities, and facilities are tools to showcase our work. If we don't have a facility, we cannot showcase, we cannot educate, we cannot export.
Right. But you know, people always talk about this issue of what grade we get in school and stuff like that. But to me, that grade doesn't apply.
It's not important.
That's the point I'm going to make. That it's not important for what the majority of people's purpose and skill set is for. Right.
I'm going to honestly get a little personal here. I was diagnosed to have a learning difference in school, and that's why I went to performing arts school in the United States. I went when I left boarding school at 13 years old. I went to a school in Canada. Unfortunately, my grades weren't the best. And so I had a WISCAR test. And the WISCAR test was able to show my strengths. And my strengths were that I excelled in the arts. My parents had I'm so blessed to have the parents I have, because they saw that they needed to hone my strength.
Right.
And that meant that I needed to go into an area as a teenager and hone that and become who I want to be.
Right.
And a lot of parents don't look at their children and say, who are they going to be? Who do they want to be? No, we put what we project them to be. And that's wrong. So, you know,
it seems, like we really need to build up these infrastructures that is in place. So you call it BIFF as an institution, so the institution and the like. And so what do you see is the catalyst to want to encourage people to invest in, say, not necessarily a BIFF, but institutions or infrastructure that will provide for these creative learning systems other than government? Because I don't believe the government is the answer, right?
It starts at the top. If you have people who are talking that have a microphone and are telling people we want to bring Broadway to the Bahamas,
Right.
but we don't have our own Broadway, I think that's wrong.
Okay.
So it starts at the top. We have to be rubbing shoulders and talking to those people who are making the Bahamas proud and showcasing Bahamian talent and putting them on the stage rather than trying to influence entertainers from abroad to come.
Right.
We have to grow within. So it's really important to have these stakeholders and these decision makers to talk to people who are making decisions to make this industry grow.
It's work, right?
We will not. Happy. I unfortunately feel that we have lost our way. We
could get back on course. I'm not concerned with,
but
because there's always the magnitude in people is driving people.
You have to speak the truth in order to fix it.
Yes, true.
It's broken right now, and I have not seen. We have lost our competitive edge. There's so many, like Barbados is thriving, Jamaica is thriving, Cuba is thriving. So many other Caribbean countries, Dominican Republic. So when you're talking about the film industry, Dominican Republic makes over 50 films a year.
Wow. Yeah. So the bottom line is, it sounds, the main thing is that we talk that we want to do these things, but we need to get serious and put the infrastructure behind the talk to cause these things to happen in country, so that the students, if you say it's 90% of the students are more creative, that means what we have, something like 2,000 or 3,000 children leave school every year. 6,000. What is? I didn't forget what the number is.
If we had art or sports, not just sports. I mean, we have sports in our schools.
Somewhat. Yeah.
If we really concentrated on finding avenues where children are going to excel in different areas, they will be more focused.
Right.
Right now, there's no option for them. So to pigeonhole somebody in an area where they don't fit the mold,
right,
is not exposing them. And it's so important as a young child to be able to provide opportunities so that they can
stretch their mind. Yeah. But and that's one of the things right there. I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. Bottom line, I didn't study in school. I didn't pay attention. My mom said, "You're going up in the Alps in Canada, and when you catch yourself and start passing the grades, then we'll send you to play baseball." Right? But children, I find, always focus on what it is that they want to do, no matter what a parent says to tell them that they have to do. And some people would beat them thinking that that's going to make a difference. To me, that doesn't make a difference. Right? Because
I hope that people aren't beating their children because they want them to be who they want to be. It is,
well, that's unfortunately that happens. Okay.
It's really up to you. If imagine that your child could be the next Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. These people didn't go to college.
Right.
They dropped out of college. If they could be the next Sidney Poitier, they can be the next Lenny Kravitz. They can be the next, person who made a decision for what they wanted to do, not for what their parents said. You would see such a shift in our self-esteem, our confidence, our pride.
Right.
And right now I see a lot of people who are walking around with unfulfilled dreams.
And that also, what you just said, will also help reduce crime, because when people have a purpose and they're energized and focused towards that, they're not going to be idle and do things that they're doing just to get attention.
I mean, it's incredible. People live longer if you have a purpose. I was listening to a podcast a couple of days ago that those people who have purpose will live longer. And those people who have purpose will you'll have a kinder society. because they're not projecting their misfortune, or their lack of on other people. And we, this is such a small country that we have the opportunity to kind of reshape what it is that.
And we're flexible enough to do it quicker than most countries will have to take to turn it
We're
around.
so talented. We're so
very much so.
It's
And I think we haven't even touched the family honors much.
No, and exactly. I mean, look at the straw market. Not the straw market, but the straw weaving.
Right.
Every island has a different way of
doing it. Right.
A straw bag.
Mm-hmm.
Every island has a different way of making bread. We're not.
And it tastes good on each island.
Culture. We're not. We're. I think also. We want a quick fix. We want to make money. We cannot go into a job or an organization or have a dream just for the sole purpose of making money. Because as soon as you start making money, you're going to see, okay, well, I've done that. And so
look for the next one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Passion is what's going to drive you to be sustainable and to have the longevity. You can never take passion away from somebody.
Okay. So Leslie, BIFF has grown from strength up until, maybe, well, definitely the COVID has put a stop to a lot of things. So now in the second chapter, I will call it, you might have multiple chapters already, but what is needed in order to cause a BIFF and other operations in the space to be able to excel? Besides the stuff that we already mentioned, is there anything else that needs to be put on the table that people might be shy away from speaking about or just don't know to speak about it? Yeah.
It is a lot of work, and you just don't make it overnight. I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years, and every day I'm faced with a challenge. So how am I going to react to that challenge? Am I going to give in to that problem? Or am I going to rise above it and find another way? And I think a lot of people need to make sure that they are held accountable. So my board of directors, I go to them for my advice because I never want to make a decision by myself.
Right. Okay.
And so you have to really rely on the feedback from other people, even though you don't like it, and because, 2 eyes are better than, 4 hours than 2. So, and in this case, the reason why I keep saying we is that the Bahamas International Film Festival serves a purpose. It's a public service. And as I mentioned earlier, I really want it to be where we can fill a void that is missing to educate filmmakers, performers, and also encourage people to come to the Bahamas, because the Bahamas is not just sun, sand, and sea.
Right.
We have to be perceived or not perceived. We have to have content for people to come to the Bahamas. And so if we're not providing them with options when they're coming to move here, to live here, they ask, okay, are there any malls? Are there any festivals? Are there any film? What's going on in the social fabric of our society? And we have to make sure that it's really cemented. So I think the film festival kind of provides that void, and a lot of people have to continue to ask, or to continue to evaluate that vision, that mission.
Right.
Continue to ask those questions and what is it that I'm doing? Can I do this differently? What is it that the market wants? And Quentin Tarantino said, okay, when I make my film, it's going to be the last film. And the reporter said, so when are you making the film? He said, well, I don't know when I'm going to make this film, because I don't know what movies are anymore. You know, is a movie watching something in your house? Is a movie watching it, you know, by yourself? Is a movie going to the cinema? You know, right now there's so many things that are changing, and so Quentin Tarantino is so used to having all of his movies shown in the theater,
Right.
on this huge screen, and he doesn't want to make a film until he feels comfortable about how society is
moving.
shaped. So I think the example is, you always have to be mindful of what the society wants. What do we need? How do we meet those interests? I find strength and I find hope when I go into those schools and I teach those students how to make film. And then those institutes, I've gone into the senior citizen homes to teach, senior citizen organizations to teach film. I've been into the Bahamas Correctional Facility to teach films. We go into the schools. We've taught about 1,000 students since 2005. And so it's really important. Like, what legacy are you going to leave? Are you going to go into do something that only serves you? Or are you going to go into something that is going to leave a mark? And people say that all the time, but you know, that gives me, looking at those children, you know, looking into the camera, maybe never picked up a camera, maybe never knew that this is something that can do.
Right.
But I will never forget the time when I was driving down the street and somebody said, oh, that's the lady that taught me how to make film. And he was a 20-year-old man selling coconuts. And I taught him how to make film when he was a teenager. And also there's people who've gone on to college to act or to make film. You know, those are those quick wins that you see, you know. Or those people that are come to the Bahamas, you know, come to the Bahamas International Film Festival and say, oh, we want to make a film here. And those opportunities have happened. So it is really important to make sure when you are looking at being an entrepreneur or looking at being, you know, going into something that you desire, make sure you can wake up every morning and want to do it.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It has to be, it comes from your energy and it comes from inside. You have to really give yourself time, mull it over, meditate on it, think about it, close your eyes, think, is this something that I really want to do?
And one thing I always add to people when people talk about how they find their purpose, in my experience, when you're doing something that you like, you love, and you have a drive to do it, but it also makes you feel at peace with yourself.
Absolutely.
To me, that helps you understand that that's where you need to be. That's what you should be doing.
Look in the mirror and say, job well done. And you don't even need to be recognized or have accolades when you are happy for what you do. That's when you know you've met your purpose.
Awesome. So, well, Leslie, you know, this hour is just run past us, you know, because I was just getting warm up to ask about 50,000 more questions.
Yes.
No, we gotta go. But what I would like is for you to, either if you can encourage the children, the youth out there, because
the children,
children and the youth, I guess, because you talk about a lot of things now, but there really is a huge opportunity. I mean, you listed a number of job opportunities that people get in there, but there's also people can just reach up and find a niche that they want to and grab that off the shelf, and then it could be developed. And maybe, I don't know, if UB or the University of Bahamas and think tanks might need to be the board members for the students, because they don't have a board member, right? They don't have a board that they could rely on, like how BIFF has. You have
Need a
BIFF board
board.
that you can.
You don't.
Sorry?
A board.
No. What I'm saying though is like how when you making your decisions and you're trying to guide yourself through what you want to do, the children may not have somebody to lean on, and so I'm just saying that maybe UB could formulate something like a think tank where they could lean in that and get some guidance along with what people like you are doing. Yeah.
Children. I honestly think that children know what they want to do. I think that we need to listen to what children are telling
I
us.
agree with that. Mm-hmm.
And then children have their group, they have their tribe, they have their team, they have their peers, because
Right.
they have their friends. They know they're able to dream together. And so a board consists of people who want to dream with you.
Right.
It doesn't have to be somebody in a suit and tie and stockings.
No, I'm not suggesting them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It
has
just needs to be something that they
who
can
are
rely on. Yeah.
like-minded. You know, your tribe. Who is your tribe?
Mhm.
Who is going to sit and listen to you and guide you? Even if it's somebody who you don't like. You know, I'll give you an example. I remember when we had to rate our films from the Film and Play Board. And, you know, all the films that we showcased at the festival had to have a rating. And the secretary of the Film and Players Board, you know, I thought she was really like very serious and just, you know, but she was doing her job.
Right.
And because she was assigned to that. And do you know that she's on our board now? She's on the Bahamas International Film Festival board.
Mhm.
I just, you have to surround yourself with smart people. Doesn't
Yep.
have to be people that you agree with. They don't have to agree with you. But you pick people who are smarter than you. Pick people who are not necessarily smarter than you, but people who have
Diversity.
better strengths than you. For instance, if
Mhm.
you're not good in finance, then pick somebody who's good in finance. If you're
Right.
not good at special events, pick somebody in special events. If you're not good at, you know, communicating something, then
Mhm.
you know, our board is, but I think very strong experts at what they do,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
so proud to be around them, and because I know that they make sound decisions, and they're expert in their fields. So even if you know, you have to have a strong conviction as to what it is you want to do. And the only way that you can build that is if you have people around you that support you. And
Right,
it can be
right.
parents, it can, but most oftentimes you don't want to necessarily go to your parents
Right.
for business advice, okay? Because and don't pick your best friend, because you should. I often feel that business and friendship should be separate, because there should be a balance in life.
Right. Okay.
And but nobody can. No one can tell you necessarily what to do, but if you have guidance, I think that it's coming from strength.
Right. Awesome. Well, Leslie, thank you kindly for joining us today on Something to Think About with myself, and I'm sure that you put so much on the table that people will be able to keep coming back and watching from time to time and just grab another set of nuggets that they could run with and help themselves, particularly our youth, which our show is designed to
Oh, the youth
help.
this is designed for the youth. Well, I mean, the youth can achieve anything.
Yeah, well, yeah. But sometimes you gotta spur their imagination beyond what they're exposed to every day, right? So,
And I think that we need to give them that.
right.
Show a platform to spur their imagination.
Right. Very much so. And you surely are doing that. And you keep up your good work, because in the next year or so, the conversations that we've had earlier before the show, I'm looking to see where you say that we have film depots and film studios scattered across at least the 4 major islands that we have economies. And you would be right there directing traffic for all of that.
Well, as long as it's being done, we have to be supportive of our arts and culture.
Right. Good. Awesome. Thank you, Madam Producer. As usual, thank you everybody out there in social media for thanking. Be sure to share with all your friends, and we'll be back next week for another awesome topic with an awesome guest. Peace.
Thank you.
Enjoyed the show? Then subscribe to us for more educational and inspirational content. Ring the bell so you never miss a show. Let's change the narrative 242